What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Mark Magsayo versus Rey Vargas, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBC Featherweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, July 9th, from the Alamodome in San Antonio, Texas, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Showtime. And to get into both fighters' resumes, Mark Magsayo, fighting out of the Philippines, holds a record of 24 wins with no defeats and 16 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 2 by BoxRec in the featherweight division, and he's also the current WBC Featherweight World Champion. And to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Chris Avayos. He also has a unanimous decision victory over Shota Hayashi. He also has an excellent knockout win over Julio Ceja, and he's coming off the best performance of his career, which was a majority decision victory over Gary Russell Jr., and he was the first man to defeat Gary Russell Jr. in many, many years. And in that fight, it was a majority decision, as I mentioned before, but in my opinion, it really should have been a unanimous decision, as I thought Magsayo won clearly. And to get his opponent's resume, Rey Vargas, fighting out of Mexico, holds an outstanding record of 35 wins with no defeats and 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 10 by BoxRec in the featherweight division, and he's also the former WBC super-bantamweight world champion. And to list some of his best victories, he has a majority decision win over Gavin McDonnell, a unanimous decision win over Ronnie Rios, a unanimous decision victory over Oscar Negrete. He also has a unanimous decision win over Azat Hovhannissian. He also has a unanimous decision victory over Tomoki Kameda, and he is coming off a wide unanimous decision win over Leonardo Baez. So in my opinion, this fight is actually going to go in favor of the former Super Bantamweight World Champion, Rey Vargas. Yes, I think Rey Vargas is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to hand Magsayo his first ever defeat. I was really going back and forth in this one. I think it is a 50-50 fight, but after really just looking in on both these fighters' styles and who they've beaten, I really think that Vargas is going to win this fight clearly on the judges' scorecards. Rey Vargas, I mean, he's 5'10" in the featherweight division. He's got good reach. He's a very solid counter puncher. He could box. He could come forward as well. But I mean, really, he reminds me of a fighter that Mark Magsayo has already faced, but 10 times better than him. Mark Magsayo once fought in a PBC like Wednesday night fight, or either it was a Friday night fight, Wednesday night fight, main event, where he took on Rigoberto Hermosillo, and Hermosillo was a 5'9", very tall, lengthy. I mean, it's ironic because they're from the same country. He was a Mexican fighter, 5'9", and he also was boxing a bit on the outside, and he gave Magsayo a lot of trouble as he was counterpunching, also coming forward a lot, and it was a split decision win for Magsayo. One judge had him winning every single round, which I did not see, and the other two judges had it 6-4 either way. But I mean, Rey Vargas is really just a 10 times better version of Hermosillo, or even a better version of that, like a 20 times better version, as Vargas is undefeated in 35 fights. He's a former world champion, and he's definitely already top 10 in the featherweight division. So how I see this fight going down, I think really primarily throughout the fight, Magsayo is going to do what he's known for. He's going to be the one coming forward, being the one trying to knock out Vargas, throwing big punches, just like he was trying to on Gary Russell Jr., as he was really just the one dictating the pace of the fight, coming forward and landing the better shots on Russell Jr. But here I think that Vargas, being that he's much taller than Russell Jr., will be giving Magsayo a lot of problems, and I mean a lot of problems, as he's going to box a lot on the outside a bit, but not like box like a Cuban fighter, like on the with his toes, like moving around the ring with the footwork, like that. I think Vargas just doesn't even need to use that. He just needs to utilize just some movement around there. You stick the jab out there and really just try and keep Magsayo off him, who's shorter and who has the smaller reach. So I think that this fight could be close in the judges' scorecards, and I also think it could be wide, as I think that this fight will go the distance, and I think that one judge will really value Vargas' boxing more and his counterpunching, and I think that one judge will be a bit more neutral, and I think that one judge will value Magsayo's sort of come forward fighting, even though I think that all three judges will favor Vargas to win this fight by unanimous decision. So how I see this fight going down round by round with the scoring, I actually think that Rey Vargas will have more of his success, I guess you could say, in the second half of the fight. So Mark Magsayo, his gas tank isn't really that great. Although in his last fight he showed that he definitely does have one. Or I guess you could say Mark Magsayo, just like when he fought Julio Ceja, he looked sort of gassed early in that fight, like after 6 rounds. But then he sort of had a resurgence of energy. But I think that's just because in one round he did hurt Ceja, but he was looking really, really tired as the fight was going on. But he was able to knock out Ceja, luckily for him. But yeah, in that fight, he was having really, really good offensive work early on in the first half, and it was really more in his favor in the first half. But then in the second half, all that body work from Ceja got caught up to him, and he got really tired, but then he was ultimately able to stop him. But I don't think that will happen here. I think that Vargas will also be able to set up a lot of straight body shots, really to sort of try and break down Magsayo, who he does know doesn't have the greatest retention to body shots. So I think that Vargas will be trying to set up Magsayo for a tough late half of the fight in the first half. So I think after the first half, like after 6 rounds, it could be 57-57, as I think that the earlier rounds, like the early rounds, like the first 4 rounds, could go in favor of Magsayo with his pressure fighting. But then I think Vargas will start to find his opening, start to get used to it, start to land more shots. And I think that in those last couple of rounds of the first half, I think that they will be more in favor of Vargas. And I think that after 6, it could be 57-57. Somewhere like that. It could be, obviously, 57-57, could be 58-56 either way, but I think it will be close after the first half. But then in the second half of the fight, I don't think it will be a shutout for Rey Vargas, but I think he will really start to find his openings, and I don't think it will be like Ceja where he gets hit with one shot and knocked out. I think Vargas will stay with his lead, throw more body shots, throw more combos to the head, and I really think that he'll start to really edge the second half of the fight. And I think that Mark Magsayo could edge a couple of those rounds, maybe 2, 3 in there, but I think the rest will be all in favor of Rey Vargas to win by unanimous decision and to really edge those rounds pretty clear in the later half, second half of the fight, somewhere around there. So I believe that Rey Vargas will become the new WBC Featherweight World Champion. So comment down below your thoughts on this fight, who you think is going to win, and whether you think this fight will go the distance, and who will prevail. So overall, I believe that Mark Magsayo will lose for the first time, as I think that Rey Vargas will win by unanimous decision, and I think that the judges will score this bout 117-111, 116-112, and 115-113, all in favor of Rey Vargas to win and to become the new WBC Featherweight World Champion. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.